What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Welcome to another episode of the Ambitious Vet Show. I'm your host, Chris Hoffman, Marine Corps veteran, surviving sales trainer, author, and award-winning entrepreneur who realized immediate transitional education expires when you desire more than just your basic needs being met. On this show, we dive into the trenches with today's top subject matter experts, share inspiring transition stories, and provide master classes to equip you with the realistic perspective on how to reach your full potential post-military. If you haven't already, grab your favorite bourbon, your cigar, or if you're driving, turn up the volume because you're going to love these golden grenades as we help you break through new levels of success in your life post-military. You know, Ambitious Vet, we started this journey 5 years ago as a Facebook group just to test my assumption that there was a veteran like myself who got out as an enlisted guy and realized immediate transitional education expires. I'm talking about things like resume writing, interview prep, job fairs, that kind of education. Also, understanding of benefits and healthcare. That's only the step one of figuring out who the hell you are, what you want to do, and how to execute it in a impactful and effective way post-military, right? So 5 years later now, we are reaching thousands of growth-minded veterans between our podcast, email lists, and social media groups. And as Facebook groups are now a thing of the past and are saturated, podcasts are getting that way. We are hoping that you hear us today, and we want to make sure that you know that there's a next step to where we're going with the Ambitious Vet Network. And we want to invite you to be one of our initial 20 beta users of our brand new exclusive social network made just for ambitious vets like yourself, where you can come in, plug in, and grow and advance in life with other ambitious vets without all the distractions of mainstream media. Our goal with this platform is to equip each and every member with the tools, connections, and content to really just succeed in life post-military after immediate transitional education expires. Think about it like this. We recently released a qualitative research study with the University of Texas at San Antonio, and I had the pleasure and honor to present that out in San Antonio to the academia and government world, that is. And we released a framework, right? Basic needs are the first step, but you've got to start developing your sense of identity, your purpose, understanding what fulfillment looks like to you so you can be a better father, better wife, better husband, better at all your roles in life, right? I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but just guys, I want to encourage you. If you're an ambitious vet that has realized that the current education as far as helping you reach your full potential post-military has expired, come in, check out our platform. You're able to start a 14-day trial through an application process. Application process is there to make sure every single member is a verified veteran. That's really it. After that, it's only $10 a month or $97 a year. But I promise you this, as all of our past courses and programs that we've created, you will get ROI on each and every one of those dollars and cents spent. And that's our promise to you. So if you are an ambitious vet, ready to grow and advance in life with other ambitious vets, go and check out ambitiousvetnetwork.com. Also, the link will be in the show notes below. Make sure you get in there. We are filling up with these 20 beta users. I think we only got a few more applications available that we're currently vetting. So if you are even speculating around getting inside this beta group, make sure you go and check out ambitiousvetnetwork.com. And I hope to see you on the other side. Take care.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, Ambitious Vet? We are right back inside the trenches this week with Joe Giordano. He is a United States Military Academy graduate, owner of consulting, training, and development services, has over 40 years experience in workforce development, human resources, and leadership development arenas. His vast experience includes a 20-year career as a personnel administrator and training supervisor with the United States Army, and 17 years as owner of consulting, training, and development services. Ambitious Vet Joe has been doing some amazing work now with Project Opportunity, creating entrepreneurial programs for our community to just continue to thrive. And what does it mean to be a veteran entrepreneur in a marketplace like today? What's the next 3 or 4 steps on overcoming the challenges of being a veteran entrepreneurship? So I'm really, honored to have Joe on the show, and hoping that you get a lot from this episode as well, as we look to unpackage the challenges of veteran entrepreneurship. Joe, are you there?
I'm here, my friend.
Did I butcher your last name, Joe?
Not too bad. It's Giordano.
So sound it out for me. Giordano?
Yep, you got it.
Perfect. Is that Italian?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Come on, man. I got an Italian wife. She cooks me some good pasta, man.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing that beats it.
I can appreciate that. Well, Joe, welcome
to
the
show. I do have
show.
to correct you, though. I wasn't smart enough to get into the military academy. I was stationed there, but I didn't graduate from there.
Got it. Because I saw that inside your bio on the website, and I was just like, huh. And with the strict time frame of getting this bio going, I was just like, okay, United States Military Academy. And I just assumed that it was a graduate. So not graduate, you worked for them. So, hey, you were smarter than the graduate. You came and provided thought leadership to the academy then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, Joe, thanks for being on the show. And feel free to fill the gaps inside that introduction and let us know a little bit more about who you are.
Well, I'm a retired Master Sergeant, United States Army. I had my own business for a long time, and I am extremely interested in the field of entrepreneurship for veterans, and that's pretty much what I specialize in now, providing entrepreneurial educational programs for veterans and military spouses.
Nice. And what kind of led you to that? What kind of led you towards this passion for doing this? Because now, how many years have you been doing Project Opportunity at this point?
We started Project Opportunity in 2010.
Wow.
So
okay.
12 years.
Wow. So 12 years doing this thing in the trenches, knuckle dragging this amazing work. So what led you to launching this amazing project?
Back in 2009, 2010, the unemployment rate among veterans in the state of Maryland was hovering somewhere between 14 and 19%. We had a lot of fellow veterans coming back from the conflicts, and for a lot of reasons, they weren't able to obtain or find employment. So we wanted to start a program to assist the veterans, but we didn't want to do traditional employment because it just wasn't cutting it at that time. So having done a lot of research and study, as you and I both know, veterans make great candidates for entrepreneurship. So we decided to do a pilot program and run it, and it worked. And we kept on growing and growing and growing and growing. And now it's in good shape. We're providing almost across the whole state of Maryland. We're providing classes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Across Maryland. So it's statewide in Maryland, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's awesome stuff, because we both know how hard it is to pilot a program, actually get veterans to take it, have them complete the program, not only take it, and then continue to scale it. And how many different regions is it in Maryland right now?
We do a class on the Eastern Shore. We do a class in Baltimore City. We do a class in Anne Arundel County, Howard County, Hartford County, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and Southern Maryland.
Wow. That's impressive. Ambitious Vet, if you're around those counties or know someone that's out of uniform or still in looking to take advantage of resources like this, make sure you go and you let them know Project Opportunity is the way to go. All right.
Yeah, we have 6 classes starting in September, so there's still plenty of time.
Perfect, Joe. And yeah, I mean, I could ask tons of questions around how to stand up a pilot program and stuff like that, which is challenging in itself. But I think what an ambitious vet that may be listening to this right now, maybe they feel underemployed, right? Maybe they don't feel challenged enough in their current career path, and they're trying to open their mind. They've heard veterans are more successful being entrepreneurs, right? What would you tell that ambitious vet that's probably more interested in your project opportunity program. What are some of the challenges or barriers to entry for veteran entrepreneurs, potential veteran aspiring entrepreneurs to get inside of that career pathway?
I think there's a couple barriers. One is the old tradition that people think they can serve time in the military and then either leave or retire and next day become a government contractor. We see a lot of people want to go that route, and it's not easy. It's extremely difficult, and we start talking to them about you have to have past performance and all this stuff that their mind kind of blows. So anybody who is interested in contracting, subcontracting is the way to go and the way to look. The other thing is we see a lot of people have great ideas, but they haven't done any research. They haven't done any market research to see if there is a demand for the product or service they want to offer, and if there's a large enough customer base to compete with others doing the same product or service. And probably the biggest barrier in what our program is built all about is the need to research, write, and develop a comprehensive business plan that covers both your marketing and your financials. That's what our course is. We spend 10 weeks beating our participants over the head on the importance of a business plan and how not only do you need one to succeed, but that it's a living, breathing document that you constantly need to look at, review, update, modify as you move forward with your business.
Yeah, no, that's a great starting point. And I think let's talk about like market research, for example, right? There's a lot of, and I know for myself being a naive first-time entrepreneur, when I first started a personal training business, because that's what Marines do that were PT studs in the Marine Corps.
Absolutely.
I don't know, man. I thought I was shit hot in PT and tried to start a personal training business. I thought it was the best idea in the world in San Diego. But then once I got into the market, like there was personal trainers everywhere, man. Everyone's trying to look good on the beach of San Diego, right?
Right.
And I didn't do the market research and find the needs and create the right solution around that. And that's just my own story. So for me to gain clients was so tough. I ended up figuring out a way to pivot and contract out of local apartment complexes and their local fitness facilities and contracting and making it easy for middle-aged women that are trying to get into little black dresses to roll out of their bed and work out in their little apartment facility first thing in the morning with me. Got bored of it, wind up walking away from it. But it's, it is so hard to get into business when you just want to set up the business entity, right? In structure of the company, if it's a sole prop, LLC, whatever it may be, and you just want to be off to the races. And sometimes you can, by not doing the market research, in my opinion, you can get exhausted later and burned out because there isn't even a need in the market, no customer base or, something like that. But you being the expert here, launching this program for over 12 years now, would be some tips, practical tips around proper market research before you're just like, my idea is the best in the world.
Everybody's got the best idea in the world. I mean, you really have to do your research. You have to be able to identify who is a target customer for your product and service. And let's say you're doing something, your target customer is a male, age 50 to 70, that has an income of $80,000 a year. Well, if that's a target customer for that product or service you want to provide, how many of those individuals live or reside in the area or region where you want to provide that product and service? And then once you figure that out, who are your competitors and what products and services do they provide? And to really follow up on what you mentioned earlier, what's going to make you unique? What's your niche in the market that's going to make you different from everybody else trying to do the same thing that you are? And having the lowest price is not always the best option to take to make yourself stand out in the market.
Yeah. Amen to that. So what I'm hearing is establishing the customer you want to go after, right?
Yes.
What is their their generation? Are they baby boomers? Are they traditionals? Are they millennials? Are they Gen Xers? What is their age group?
Right.
And then what is that generation's needs and wants as it ties into your product and service?
Right. And
Yeah.
where do you advertise to that target customer?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. Where
what
they
do you
hanging
do?
out?
I mean, myself personally, I've never been on Facebook a day in my life. So if you're advertising on Facebook, I don't care how great your product or service is, you're not going to reach Joe and you're not going to get my money.
That's it.
You know, what social media do you use? What traditional, you know, radio advertising, TV, social media? What's the best source to advertise and reach the market that you want to, you know, reach?
Yeah. Yeah. And and that's like the first step too, right? It's like, okay, and then is there a market? Do they actually want what you're trying to do?
Exactly.
Right. And
Exactly.
what's your advice on, okay, these are the people I want to go after, but that's still theory, man. Yeah, it's still like a hypothetical, like, oh yeah, I want to do personal training for, middle-aged women to fit back in their little black dresses postpartum, right?
Right.
But do they actually want what you're offering? What would be like advice or an example from someone from your program that's come in with like, hey, yeah, I want to go after these people. But how do you kind of test the market too and do that market research on the other side of that?
Well, one way you can test is by, you know, getting lucky or
Yeah.
successful or failure. But it's really knowing the market. And if you identify that middle-aged woman in a black dress, you know, where are they? And how do you
Mm.
reach them? And
Hmm.
what do you do to entice them? Do
Mm.
you go by and have conversations and offer a free session? I mean, what do you do for each target market or customer in order to get them interest? I have an ex-Marine who wanted to do PT fitness just like you. And he found out that his best way was he developed a mobile PT fitness service. So he loads the stuff up in a van and he goes to community centers, he goes to apartment centers and other places and provides the training and the services right there for them. And you know,
Wow.
it's been fairly successful for him. He's not spending a lot of money on advertising. I mean, he's doing flyers or having meetings and you know, he's got his business launched and he's starting to make a little money.
Good, good. Yeah. It seems like all military either start a coffee business, apparel company, or some kind of fitness
Security,
security too.
security,
Yeah.
whether it's armed, unarmed, or cyber security.
Yeah, right. It's just
Yeah.
funny. We have our categories that we fall into, and we think we're going to be like the next big one, right?
Yes.
Which we could be. We could be. Thankful for programs like yourself that can help us frame it and think in the right ways around making it happen. So
Yeah.
thanks for diving into the market research side of things.
You
Now,
know, they have to be flexible.
yeah,
And then really, Chris, the biggest thing is once they decide there's a market, they have to run the numbers to see if it's going to be profitable.
mm-hmm.
We make our participants do a 2 or 3 year cash flow analysis and they freak out when they get ready to do it. But when you sit down and list every expense you're going to have for the first year, you can look at those expenses and say, okay, I got $80,000 in expenses. I have to make at least $80,000 to break even. How am I going to do it?
Yep.
And if it really looks like you can't do it, you need to pivot, you need to revise, or you just need to walk away. There's no sense going broke over something that's not going to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of the financial modeling side of the business, right? Like, what is your
Yes.
business model? What is the product? Is there a market need for it, right? And doing market research to figure out if there's actually a need for it. And then the other side is the financial projection side, which is tough if you're not a natural numbers guy,
No.
finance guy. And I know I'm not. So whenever you start talking about financial modeling, financial projections, stuff like that, I'm just like, I joined the Marine Corps, not the Air Force, man.
Yep. I agree with that.
So like, so like, how do we start unpackaging if we're able to pull that off, right? Because like, let's face it, some of us military guys and gals can be overconfident. We can be like 80 grand, great, awesome. I'll go and I'll get like a bank loan. I'll go and get some funding to map out that runway, right? And I'm just throwing a scenario. I know there's tons of others, man, right?
Yep.
But maybe just go and get a bank loan, and then maybe I get the runway, and maybe I'll have revenue up into that point that will even out at 80K. I mean, what's your, well, how do you guys teach? Is it strictly around business models, based on going the bootstrapping way or fundraising standpoint? Um, how do you guys go about teaching potential veteran entrepreneurs around how to finance, their financial modeling plan that they're mapping out if their expenses are like 80K for the first year?
Probably the most difficult part of starting a small business, because right now, commercial banks aren't making those loans.
Mm,
So you have to find other sources. Bootstrapping is a good way to cut some costs. Community lending institutions are another way. They have a little higher interest rate, but they have a lower credit score that they're looking at. They're a little bit more flexible. The big theory among veterans is there's 10 million grants out there for veterans who want to start their own business. There's very few grants out there for veterans who want to start their own businesses. One of the recent ways to obtain funding is to obviously have a complete business plan, but look at business pitch competitions as a source of funding. There's a ton of business pitch competitions. There's a ton designed strictly for veterans. And if you can figure out how to put together a good business pitch, you can go out and get yourself a lot of startup money in a fairly short period of time.
I agree with that, because in my year of learning how to fundraise in 2021, I went to a lot of pitch competitions, was a semifinalist for about, I'd say like 3 or 4 of them, didn't win any, but God, man, what I learned throughout the process towards, putting the pitch deck together to getting the feedback at the competition helped us kind of shape the future of the company. Right.
And it does, because it helps you to identify the strengths and weaknesses within your business or your business plan. As you're going through the business pitch, it makes you look at things that maybe you didn't want to look at originally or didn't look at. And even if you don't win any money, you're going to come out stronger in the long end for what you learn from going through the pitch competition. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Thank you for mapping out like the different ways of going about it and accelerating your learning. Whenever you're an enlisted guy, like I was, who don't value going after getting an MBA, you want to get the street smarts of business through
Absolutely.
being the enlisted guy, being knuckle dragger. I know, we do things harder sometimes, but it's fun. It's fun. So tell me more about like, you mentioned a business plan. You talked about market research, financial modeling, the importance of that, which is key. And Ambitious Vet, I recommend, if you're not strong in that, get into a program like Project Opportunity, who may give you access to an advisor, an early advisor of the company that can advise you on how to do that. Because that is not easy if you're just not naturally a numbers guy.
Absolutely.
But like with business planning, what's the importance of a business plan, right? Because now there's like some stuff that I'm in the startup world here in Texas, and some people are just like, oh, you don't need a business plan, right? They're just like, you'll learn as you go. And as long as you got a good product, find enough customers, make sure you got profit, stuff like that. There's some of that school of thought. And
a lot of people preach that.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you that in the last 3 years, we have seen such a tremendous increase of veteran small business owners who started their business without a business plan. And after 2 or 3 years, they're stuck. They can't expand the business. They're having trouble sustaining the business. Some of them don't even know how much money they're making, if they're making any money at all. So I've heard those theories, and everybody has their own theories. But myself personally, I don't believe that you can be successful without having a plan. I mean, it's no different than what we learned in the military, right? You don't start any operations without a plan, without having that plan be backup plan. Yeah.
Amen to that. I'm an advocate of both, kind of, adapting along and pivoting the business plan, maybe weekly, monthly, or quarterly, based on what the market's telling you and stuff like that. But you got to have like a framework to fall back on.
Absolutely. Because if you're not making a revenue you projected, you got to have something to frame back and say, okay, well, I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to do this. What's working? What's not working? And what do I need to change and revise to become successful? And if it's all up here, you're not going to remember it.
Yep. Yep. And then also you got to think about shareholders and stakeholders as well, like people that are
Right.
potential investors, advisors in the company, employees, like they want to know where the plan is and they want to be able to access it. And hell, if you get hit by a car tomorrow and it's only in your brain, how's the company survive?
You're right.
I mean, so
You are
there's those worst
absolutely,
case
you're absolutely
scenarios.
100% right. And then again, the other thing to be successful is you have to have a really strong team.
Yeah.
You have to
Yep.
have a very good commercial insurance agent, a very, very good legal advice, and a CPA to work with you along the way,
Mm,
especially the first couple of years, because you can't do it all yourself. And you got to be smart enough to bring in experts to do what you don't know and
yep.
what you can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. Taxes are extremely important. And that all depends on like business model, product and service, even
Right.
state laws.
Business entity.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. It can get complicated very quickly. You can have a
Yes.
lot of opportunity costs, ambitious vet, if you're just focusing all on that learning gap that you have that may not be your super strength inside the company. So yeah, get going and finding an expert in that can help you kind of get ahead of potential Uncle Sam asking for more money than you have in your bank account at the end of the year too.
Yeah. I mean, a
Um,
lot of people don't realize, depending on what type of business entity you have, sometimes you have to put at least 30% of your revenue away to pay taxes.
yep.
And then you get into those quarterly self-employment taxes, you got cash flow issues, and
Yeah.
you don't pay enough self-employment estimated, and then the IRS fines you at the end of the year. I mean,
Yep.
there's a lot of things to really look at, which is why each class cohort, we have both a lawyer and a CPA come in and explain the 4 or 5 basic business entities, because the best business entity for you to establish from a legal standpoint may not be the best business entity from a tax advantage standpoint for you to establish. So you got to have all that information kind of weigh and say, well, what's more important, legal protection or tax advantage for me as I'm starting out?
Yep. Yep. And this argues the case too, even for my case over here. I'm thinking as you're talking, I mean, when we first started our company, we were like, look, we're working with like the specialized master business tax preparers at H&R Blocks and stuff. But all that is a certification that they go through, and it doesn't prepare you for the long-term growth of your company and tax strategy as well, right? So
Absolutely not.
yeah, yeah. And I'm saying that because that was a learned lesson for us too, is like
Mhm.
going out and finding an actual specialized CPA that has years of experience of creating tax strategies for startup companies or businesses in your domain and stuff like that. It's so important.
Oh, absolutely. It's extremely important.
Yeah. So I acknowledge you for having that inside the program. So yeah, ambitious vet, like a business plan is the overall context that we're creating, like all the components of financial modeling, market research, the end customer that you're trying to hit, revenue goals, all that is just different components of a business plan. And there's more inside of
Yes.
that plan
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. That's just different
I mean,
components.
you really need to do a thorough, effective SWOT analysis so
Hmm.
you can identify those different categories. And then, a lot of people identify their weaknesses, and that's it. That's not good enough. Once you identify those weaknesses, you have to state what's your plan to overcome those weaknesses.
Yep. Yep. And the next practical items on that, in your opinion, obviously, we're just speaking generic here because it's different for every business model and
Right.
industry and market and stuff like that. But what would be like the next steps towards fulfilling those weaknesses?
I mean, it depends what they are. I mean, if the weakness is I don't have enough capital to start my business, well, what's your
Yep.
plan to acquire that capital?
Yep.
Especially individuals going to looking for financing to start their business, you got to have a business plan. I mean, I don't care where you're going, you got to have a business plan, or they're not going to talk to you. And there's certain things they look for that you got to make sure you have as part of that plan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, thanks for bringing that up because it's so important around having it, it mapped out and all that good stuff. So yeah, with that being said, with the business plan, I think that what we're talking about is the importance of a business plan is like for you got to think from your business from all different angles, right?
Right.
The SWOT analysis, weakness, the strengths of your company, your team, your product. Like you can do SWOT analysis all the way down to the granular details of your company. Don't complicate at the beginning, but
No.
it could be easily as simple as like, okay, I need more capital because my competitor just landed a $250,000 grant, a SIBR or STTR grant through the government. I need to get X amount of capital to be able to compete with features of my product or whatever the example is, right? And
Absolutely.
mapping out a plan on that, right?
Absolutely.
And that could just, I'm just brainstorming over here. It could be hiring a consultant that specializes in SIBR grants
Yep.
and knows the government scheduling of when those grants are revealed and panned out, right? If
Right.
your weakness is in team competency, maybe you're not strong in marketing. Hell, I am not good at marketing. Or operations. Like, okay, maybe, you need to build infrastructure. Maybe you're really good at getting out there and generating sales, but you don't have the infrastructure to maintain the revenue and the sales that are coming in.
Right.
Figure out someone that you can help map that out. Maybe you don't have enough capital or revenue to hire a full-time employee, but hell, you could start with a 1099 consultant or have an advisor that sees the future that could eventually come in as your chief operating officer or director of operations, right? So,
and always be willing to take advantage of the free resources that are out there. I
yep.
mean, you have SCORE, you have small business development centers, there's veteran business outreach centers throughout the country. All of these places, if you have a business plan, will work with you to help you refine and finalize it, and work with you to help you find the proper financing for you or whatever else you might need. And if you're like you and lucky enough to be in a state like Texas, Texas has a Veterans Chamber of Commerce, which is a great resource for business owners. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 states that actually have a Veteran Chamber of Commerce, but those are great resources to get free advice, free counseling, talk to your fellow veterans, your brothers and sisters, and pick their brains.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. We need more of those to spread out. I mean, I know Wisconsin just launched a veteran chamber of commerce. They've been doing it for a while too.
New Jersey
Wisconsin.
has one.
Yeah. So there's some other veteran chamber of commerces out there, and definitely plug into those free resources. But we're hitting close to time, Joe. But I would love for you to kind of just dive a little bit more in the high level methodology of project opportunity, right? As a aspiring veteran entrepreneur that's listening to this, it's just like, yeah, I'm in Maryland, or I know someone in Maryland. I want to go share this or come and join. What would they get out of the program? Say at the last day of the program, they're walking out. What would they take away from that program?
So the first thing that I haven't stated is that this program is free. There's no cost to participate in it. The only thing it costs the veteran participants is their time. So at the end of 10 weeks, they will have a draft business plan that they can continue to work on and finalize. For all of our graduates, we provide free business counseling and coaching for as long as they want to stay with the program. I have some graduates we've been working with 3 years. For all of our graduates, once a year, we have our own business pitch competition. Last year, we gave away $25,000 in prizes. And This year, I'm looking at probably at least $30,000 in prizes. We provide free seminars and workshops during the year on topics that we feel are important to small business owners. We do one on Google Analytics. We do one on how to prepare capability statements, how to respond to RFPs. We do one in December on how to plan for your taxes for the next year. We do 1 or 2 of those a month, some virtual, some in person. I prefer it in person myself. All the in-person ones, we either provide them with breakfast or lunch. And those workshops are open to any veteran small business owner, whether they've gone through our program or not, because I think it's important for all of them to get as much free education as they can.
Yeah, no, I agree. So just so I'm clear, the workshops and seminars, pitch competition, that is outside of the actual 10 weeks program. That's someone
Absolutely.
is a veteran entrepreneur that just wants to go and try to raise more capital, or just needs to know a subject matter expertise like preparing for taxes, can come and attend that event outside of the program. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's great. And business plan, hell, I mean, going back, if I were to go back in 2017, when I started, being able to have a resource to map out a quality battle-tested business plan to start out with would have gave me a hell of a lot more direction, and having the accountability to actually pull it off, because it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of focus. And, we can stop, let's face it, we can stop taking action when things we don't understand come up. Right. And, it's good to be in a program that's going to help you be like, okay, you don't understand financial modeling. Let's bring in an expert so we can get this done and get it done in 10 weeks.
Yeah, we have subject matter experts come in almost every week of the 10 weeks to do presentations on different topics that are part of the business plan.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Joe, thanks for breaking that down. And I can see why it's been successful for now over 12 years. Where can an ambitious vet that's listening to this go and learn more about it?
They can go to our website, www.project-opportunity.com. And it'll give them all the information about the program. It'll give them all the class schedules, what they're interested in, or, my email's on the website. They can email me and I'll be glad to answer any inquiries that we get.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and put that link in the show notes below, Ambitious Vet, along with Joe's email. Joe, I'm going to end this with the one last golden grenade or last save rounds that you have. There's an ambitious vet that's either in the uniform, super ambitious, that's getting out with big goals, right? But may be lacking the perspective of what it takes to actually achieve those goals. We all know the transition process is intense and crazy, right?
Yes,
there's also another ambitious vet that we've identified who's been out for at least a couple years and has realized that immediate transitional education expires. I'm talking about career readiness, healthcare, understanding of benefits. That's like the first step towards, life success 101 post-military. And they're looking for stuff, man, to kind of help them grow and advance in entrepreneurship, life, career, whatever it may be. What would be that one last or couple save rounds you would give to those ambitious vets?
Really spend some time thinking about what it is you want to do. I mean, if you want to be an entrepreneur, do your homework, do your research, because if you just jump into it, you can spend a lot of money and go broke real quick if you don't have the right model, you don't have the right audience, you don't have the right finances. The best thing about our program is you can go through it for 10 weeks, and after 10 weeks, figure out that what you wanted to do isn't going to work, but it didn't cost you any money, it just cost you time, and it gave you an education. So, don't jump out and throw down $30,000 to do a business that you have no idea how to run it, what you need to do to run it, and if it's going to be successful or not.
Yeah. In other words, ambitious vet, go and test the idea inside of a program where people that have years and decades of experience know what a successful business looks like and what it takes to be successful in business versus just going out and trying to be the lone wolf. Find a program like Project
I have 5
Opportunity.
instructors that teach for me, and all my instructors are veterans, and all my instructors are successful business owners. So, the automatic veteran relationship in the classroom is there from day one.
Amen. Love it. Well, Joe, thank you so much for just joining the Ambitious Vet Show. Thanks for being a retired master sergeant, I believe, in the Army, who got out and just didn't look back. I mean, you could easily got out and just settled in life, but that's not who you are. You're consistently getting out there. How do I serve and lead the way in veteran entrepreneurship in the state of Maryland? Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you, Chris. If you ever come to Maryland, let me know. And you can attend one of our graduation ceremonies or something to learn a little bit more about the program. It'd be a pleasure to have you.
Oh, that would be a blast. I might just have to make a trip out there now because you invited me.
Okay. You can see your friend Gary Slyman. He teaches one of my classes.
Oh, come on. I love it. I want to get life coached. All right, Joe. Take care.
All right. Have a great day.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Ambitious Vet, before you go, if you're someone that is looking to go to the next steps or the next level with the Ambitious Vet Network and want to plug into an exclusive social network designed for people like yourself who are wanting to get out of the military and want to grow and advance in life with other growth-minded vets without all the distractions of mainstream media, make sure to go check out ambitiousvetnetwork.com and apply to be one of our initial 20 beta users. This application process that you would start just ensures that we're getting ahead of any scams, any valor fraud or anything like that. We just want to make sure each and every member of our platform is a verified veteran, so we can make sure we create a space for really awesome, vulnerable, and transparent conversations that help us all grow happen inside the social network. Again, ambitiousvetnetwork.com. Make sure to apply to become one of our initial 20 beta users of this platform. That'll get you started on a 14-day free trial. After that, it's $10 a month or $97 a year, but I promise it's going to be worth it. Why? Because you're worth it. We'll see you on the other side. Take care.